Okay, so in this video we are going to put everything together, and all we need is our A4 by 12 screws. I have about 25, and then just a few nuts. Just need 4 in total, and I got 5 over here. And then hopefully later on I can redesign this part so we don't need to use those nuts. And then this is our base where everything is just going to go inside. And then this is the cap that will go on top. And then from there, this goes on here to hold one servo, or one servo attaches this. And then another servo goes on the side. And then we have like this bracket. And this is used to attach the camera to the top servo, so we can have motion in 2 degrees. And then we have our servos over here, and I just homed these in again, so I just tested them out and I put them to home to make sure it's at 90 degrees. So for this video we're just going to put everything together, and then in our next video we'll make sure everything works, and we will connect it to a neural network so we can do some tracking. So first thing we need to do is get one of our servos and attach it to our base, or the cap right here. So we're going to put this to side. We won't need this for much later. So this is going to be the first piece. And of course, don't forget your OAK camera. So let's get started. So all you do, our servo goes in here. And one of the problems is kind of hard to see on here. A lot of these servos, they have like a little plastic thing right here. Just kind of like a little ridge. So you're going to need to get an X-Acto knife. And you're going to have to cut this off because it has to sit perfectly flush along the bottom right here. And right now it doesn't do that. It has kind of a wobble. So just get an X-Acto knife and just cut off that little piece right there. Be careful not to cut off your fingers also. Okay. Yeah, just check, make sure it's kind of smooth enough. A little bit more. Okay, yeah, so just cut off those little tab things because we don't want those on there. And then next, if you notice the servo, it's not, this part is not right in the middle, so it's like kind of towards one side. So we want that part to go towards the, like this is going to be the front right here. So when it's all together, it will be facing this way. So the part that has the threads on it, where we're going to attach our gear, is going to be facing on the other side of where this hole is, and all the wires are going to come in through this hole. So put this in here and just use 4 of your screws and just screw it in there. And this is, oh yeah, this is the one where you need the bolts, that's right. So yeah, so first we have to put our screws in, then we're going to put the bolts in the bottom. Yeah, and you need a screwdriver, so we don't need too many other tools, just for now we just need a screwdriver. Not as easy it looks. I have quite big hands and fingers, so getting these screws in these very tiny holes is not that easy. Alright, I'm gonna just pound that in. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Because some of these holes are meant to be threaded into, and some of them are not. And so your 3D printer, the settings are going to be a little bit different, so maybe the hole doesn't quite match up the exact size as it's designed for. So these ones, it looks like it's a little bit too small, so these screws should just push right in. But because it printed a little bit smaller, they catch a little bit, so just like screw it in and then twist it a little bit. Yeah, because at the bottom we're going to be attaching some nuts. Okay, so all 4 screws are in, and remember facing the opposite direction, so that should just pop right in there. Yeah, so it just goes in like that, and then you get your 4 nuts, put those on the back. Oh, no. Oh, no, we got this upside down. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. That's okay. We're just gonna pop these screws right out and flip them to the other side. Okay, because I just noticed that on this we have our cool, it might be impossible to see. Yeah, you can see it okay. We got our Open CV logo right here. So we definitely want this on the top part because it's going to be facing up. So we're going to pop those screws out and flip them to the other side. Yeah. Maybe you might have to unscrew them. That's okay to make mistakes. That's not even a mistake. That's just not paying close enough attention. That's okay. We didn't break anything. And the good thing is, since all of this is 3D printed, if you do break something, you can just like print out another piece. Like these back screws, I always print out 2 or 3 because sometimes those break a little bit easily. Yeah, and also this is the side that's on the bottom part of the 3D printer, so it's not very smooth or pretty looking, while the other side is much more beautiful and shiny and looks pretty. Yeah, so hopefully later I'll think of a redesign so we don't have to use those nuts on the bottom, but I don't have any ideas right now. If somebody else knows, then you can help me out with that. Okay, so now, there we go. Yeah, so these should just push right through. Yeah, these will just push right through right now, so that's good. Yeah. Yeah, that's how it should be. They should just push right through. But as I mentioned, every 3D printer is a little bit different. Alright, cool. There we go. Yeah, so that goes just like that. Yep. Yeah, so our OpenCV logo is on the side, and then this is on the opposite side of our hole once again. And just put it in, and then put your nuts back on there. Hopefully you're not wondering why I chose black and orange. I wasn't going to do all orange, but I had when I was printing this, the filament, I think it was a bit old and there was some moisture in it, so it wasn't printing well. So I used some different color filament instead of trying to like print it and have it not turn out very good. I decided to switch to a different color, so we're going Halloween colors for this, even though Halloween's still quite a ways away. Alright. Yeah, and just tighten those nuts so they're kind of tight. Remember, this is just plastic and it's 3D printed, so you don't really want to crank on it because it might like break or snap, and then you'll have to print out another one, and you don't want to do that. Yeah, I think in total all of this stuff took me about maybe 24 hours to print everything. Okay, cool. So our first servo is attached, and it's quite sturdy. And next up, remember those little wings. Yes, you need the little wing that we have here. And that just goes at, since I already homed it to 90 degrees, I know this is 90 degrees. And this part is going to kind of sandwich together. So what we need to do is get our wing and then pop it into this right here. So the like middle part goes in this middle part. And then it goes between like these little tabs right here. Okay. Yeah, if you notice it doesn't quite fit, get your X-Acto knife and maybe cut it a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm gonna have to cut it just a little bit. I think this one too, just a little bit. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's see if that fits better. Perfect. Yeah, so that little wing is just held in place by these things. And then, where'd that servo go? Where did I put the servo? Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, and then this is going to mount on top. Yeah, so we're going to screw this on here, and this is going to mount on top. And how we want it is this is going to be mounted on the side like this. So this is a rectangle pattern, so make sure that it's lined up like this. And so this we want to face the same way as our servo motor. And then you just put it on the threads, make sure it's lined up pretty close. And if it's not exactly perfect, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, and then get the little screw. I can't find it right now, so where is the little screw? I'll use this one for now. I'll have to go find that. I'll pause the video in a second and go find the other screw for this one, hopefully. And once again, this is an incredibly tiny screw, and it's very difficult to get in here, especially with for people with fat fingers. All right, cool. And same thing, just get it so it's pretty tight. Perfect, just like that. So we already got 2 pieces together, and now we're going to mount this on top of this. And then what this does, it just kind of sandwiches it together, so we can yeah, because if you just have this wing, it will just move around a lot, so we kind of just like sandwich this wing between these 2 pieces so it holds it sturdy. And then same thing, those should just pop right through. Yeah, so these screws should just pop right through. If not, just screw it in and then keep going until it's loose. Yeah. I should probably get an electric screwdriver for this. This will be much faster. Oh well. Good exercise though, good exercise. And then, whoa, that one's kind of tight. Whoa, whoa. That's not good. Yeah, and then one of the things, if it is tight, you have your X-Acto knife, so you can kind of use that to like scrape out the hole a little bit, because sometimes it'll just be like one area and the rest is okay. So we're gonna try that out. So just get your X-Acto knife, or I also have a pair of like pliers that I can use and kind of use that to just kind of scrape out the hole, make it a little bit bigger so that screw will fit in there a little bit easier. Okay, yeah, let's try that. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to just go ahead and do that for the other holes also. Yeah, I recommend doing this over somewhere because you're probably going to get a little bit of plastic from the 3D printer. So we have to do a little bit of cutting, maybe some scraping. So do this on somewhere where you can easily clean up this plastic. You don't want to drop it on the floor if you have dogs that will come eat it up, or cats. Okay. Oh, there we go. That's perfect. Cool. And then this is going to mount onto the side. So, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, so we want to put this on the same side as our OpenCV logo. So it'll be on, like, when you're looking at it, it's going to be on the right side, the big part that sticks up. And then just line up these with these 4 screws and then carefully screw it in. I said carefully screw it in. Okay. Yeah, so that the bottom piece we're screwing into, it has a slightly smaller hole, so they should screw in there, and it should be a little bit tight. And this one, do it quite evenly, because if you do like one all the way, it might break this bottom piece. So like when you're tightening them, tighten like all of them, like maybe 2 or 3 turns, and then go to the next one. 2 or 3 turns, then go to the next one. 2 or 3 turns, because we're trying to like pull it all together uniformly, instead of just like cranking on it one by one. All right. All right. Cool. So yeah, now we already got 3 pieces together, and like, yeah, you can kind of imagine how it's gonna look. Yes, we have our base, our top, and then this mounts the one servo. So now we already have it, so it has the 1-axis rotation. It's probably a little bit loose, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter too much. That's probably the if it's a little bit loose, it's probably the servo inside. Like the gears aren't really tight. All right. And what you should do right now, I'm not going to, but what you should do is plug this back in and test it one more time and make sure it's at 90 degrees. So if you put it in, you can test it out, rotate it, and then set it to the home to 90 degrees, and it should basically come back about to like right at this angle. It might be a little bit one side or the other, but that doesn't really matter too much as long as it's pretty close to straight on. And next we need our other servo, and I'm going to pause real quick. Okay, and I found the screw. Because we need that because we're going to attach our next servo. So this one already has the wing on it, so just pop the wing off. It might be a little bit tight, but that's okay. And yeah, same thing. This has the slightly different mounting cap for it. Yeah, it looks a little bit different. It has like a, I don't know, an alien head looking type thing on both sides. And same thing. So you just get your wing and you plop it right in there in the holes like that. And this servo, it is going to mount at the bottom. So not in the middle, so this part facing towards the bottom, and it's going to mount right like this. So instead of this one where it's held to the base and it rotates this is going to be like physically held to this bracket. And so when it turns, it actually rotates the servo body, and it doesn't, and this part doesn't rotate. So same thing, get that, and then the holes mount like that, so make sure the holes are vertical. So when you put it on to the side, the holes should line up with the motor. So like the vertical holes go vertically with the motor. Okay, yeah, same thing, get it really close to 90, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, and then get the world's tiniest screw again. Alright, cool. Yeah, so that's the same thing as the bottom servo, just like a little bracket to sandwich the wings in against our plate. And then once you have that, just put it right against those 2 holes, and same thing, get 2 of your M4 screws and screw it on. And okay, there we go. Yeah, yeah, it's a little bit difficult to make sure that the hole is lined up. All right. And once again, before you attach this to, one more quick test to make sure it's homed to 90 degrees. All right. Cool. Yeah, so now that is also attached. So both of our servos are attached. Alright, and now what I would do, I would connect both of them, and I have a program set up that I'll show you a little bit later, but now I just want to show you how to put it all together. So I have another program set up where you can test both motors at the same time, so you can control the yaw and our pitch. Yeah, but we're not going to do that right now. We're just going to focus on putting it together. And we only need 2 more things. So what we're going to do now, we're going to attach this little weird bracket to the servo right here. So that way we can attach this to the bracket. And the only reason it's 2 parts is because it would be really difficult to 3D print something like this. So just make 2 parts and then attach this to here. And then you can put this on here. And I think I forgot to. Oh, no, okay. Yeah, I forgot to attach it on the bottom. So we actually have to take this off because you have to attach that first before you attach the other things. Oh, well. It only takes a second. Yeah. Can I put it? Yeah, that won't quite fit, so I gotta take this off also. Okay, do not lose that small screw and pop that out. Okay, yeah, that only took 2 seconds. So put that on there, and then, yeah, just slide it right up against, and then get 4 of your A4 screws, and then just screw that in. Probably just use 2 A4 screws, one on the top, one on the bottom. Yeah, if you got plenty, use 4, but if you like, I don't know if I have enough, then 2 should definitely be okay. I'm going to have to count. How many do we have in total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so I count 20 in total A4 screws we're going to need for this entire project. Tiny screws and fat fingers do not get along. Alright. Oh yeah, 2 screws is plenty. Oh yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't even worry about 4 screws. 2 is plenty. That is on there tight. So have that and then put that back on. Same thing, so holes are vertical. Then quickly put that back together. Or maybe the proper screwdriver. This screwdriver is way too big for these super tiny screws, so whatever. Can't always have everything. Okay, and then put it back on. Okay. Cool, and we only need to put on one more thing, and yeah, same thing. Here's the last little mount, and then our camera is going to attach to this, and it's a little bit thick. I might have to make that thinner. Get some better threading in there. Yeah. And the bottom, I don't know what that, it's not really a hole, and it's not a hole because we can adjust this to make sure that the camera is level. So we're not going to put this on super tight right now. After we get it all together, when we get our camera on, we're going to make sure that this camera is level, so we can adjust this and then turn it a little bit so it's nice and level. Okay, and before we put on the camera, I'm going to get the base out right here. Cool. Yeah, so what we would do now, we're going to do this later on, is do one final test, make sure it rotates how we want it to, and it all looks good. Let me adjust the camera just a pinch. Okay, and then the camera, just get the final screw, and then it goes on. Yeah, it just goes on like that. So kind of like the mounting a camera to a tripod. Yeah, and that just goes on. So then you can put it on the base, and then you adjust this tilt right here to make sure that the camera, if I put it on tight, okay, yeah, so that our camera is nice and level and not to the side. We have a peak right here. All right. Okay, yeah, so everything is together right now. And yeah, next we just have to run our wires inside and connect everything. So first we'll put this other one inside this hole. And then your power cable for your Oak D device. If you have the Oak one, you don't need to worry about this. And then, yeah, so how this works, it just kind of, okay. Yeah, so the wire is gonna come down a little bit, and you just loop it and then put it inside of here like that. So this just kind of holds the wire out of place a little bit. And then do the same thing with your, oops, I forgot to do that. And very important, before you do that, run the cable up through the hole. Yeah. And then same thing with your Type-C cable. Run your Type-C cable up through the hole. Yeah, because this hole's a little bit small. You can make it bigger if you want to, but basically it just, the cables go through there to go into the inside. And same thing, run it through, and then connect those at the bottom. So there's that one. And okay. And then later everything is just going to be shoved inside of here. That's why our base is a little bit big. Actually, it'd be like that. Yeah, so we're going to put everything inside of here. Our Arduino, all of the wires, the USB hub, everything's going to be shoved inside of here. And in the back is a hole in case you need to, yeah, so depending on what your setup is, you might need to run everything to the USB hub over here. Or maybe you want to run the camera directly to your computer, depending what your setup is. And same thing with the power. Maybe you want to plug it into a wall, or maybe you have a battery or something else for it. So it depends on whatever setup you're using. Okay, and yeah, now we put this to the side because we are not going to attach it yet. We have to connect all of the wires together before we can screw this onto our base. Alright, and we're going to do that in our next video because this one's already long enough. So our next video, we are going to wire everything together, put it inside, and then test it to make sure it works as we expect.